Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Manila, July 20th, 2026. The departure hall was buzzing with its usual chaotic energy, travelers rushing to gates, families saying tearful goodbyes, the constant hum of announcements echoing through the terminals. But in one corner, a scene was unfolding that would stop everyone in their tracks. Alex Eala, the 21-year-old who had conquered Wimbledon's center court, who had dethroned IGA Swiatek, who had climbed to world number 28, who had become the first Filipino to reach the fourth round of a Grand Slam, was preparing to leave her homeland once again. The U.S. Open awaited. The hard court swing beckoned. The next chapter of her historic journey was about to begin. But she never expected what happened next. A little girl, no older than 8, had somehow slipped past security. She was clutching a crumpled piece of paper, a handmade drawing of a tennis racket, a Philippine flag, and a stick figure with a crown. Her eyes were wide with wonder. Her hands were trembling, and she was standing directly in front of Alex Eala. What happened in that moment would leave everyone at the airport speechless. What the little girl said would break the champion's composure. And what Alex Eala did next would remind the world why she is not just a tennis player, but a hero to millions. This is the story of a chance encounter that became a moment of pure, unfiltered emotion. Welcome to RallyVerse. July 12th, 2026. Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Terminal 3. Just 8 days earlier, Eala had arrived to a hero's welcome. Hundreds of fans had gathered. Flowers had been presented. Officials from the Philippine Sports Commission and the Philippine Olympic Committee had been there to greet her. It was a homecoming befitting a national hero. Her Wimbledon run had been nothing short of extraordinary. She had become the first player from the Philippines to reach the fourth round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She had stunned defending champion IGA Swiatek 7-6-11-9, 6-2 on center court. She had saved set points. She had silenced the crowd. She had made history. And now, a week later, she was leaving again. The week had been a whirlwind. A presidential citation from Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at Malacanang Palace. A sold-out fan meet at Glorieta Activity Center, where hundreds of supporters had queued from morning just to see her. A media conference, brand commitments, and the overwhelming love of a nation that had embraced her as its own. I got better because you are an inspiration to all Filipinos, one fan had written. But the U.S. Open was calling. The North American hardcourt swing was about to begin. The Wimbledon, D.C. Open in Washington from July 27th to August 2nd. The National Bank Open in Toronto. The Cincinnati Open. And finally, the year's final Grand Slam, Flushing Meadows, New York from August 30th to September 13th. Eala was officially listed for the U.S. Open, ranked no. 29 in the confirmed list for direct entries. She would be seeded for the first time at a Grand Slam. The expectations were higher than ever. But before she could think about any of that, she had to get through the airport. And she had no idea what was waiting for her. The Philippine Tennis Association had shared a video of Eala being dropped off at the airport after spending a week in Manila. She had fulfilled her brand commitments. She had attended fan meet-and-greet events. She had gotten ample rest following her impressive grass court campaign. Now, she was ready to resume her journey. Her entourage moved through the terminal with the efficiency of a well-oiled machine. Security personnel flanked her. Her coaches and handlers kept a watchful eye on the crowd. Her parents walked beside her, their faces a mixture of pride and the quiet ache of another goodbye. The fans had gathered again. Not as many as the day she arrived. That would have been impossible to replicate, but enough to create a stir. They waved Philippine flags. They held up banners. They chanted her name. Eala smiled. She waved. She signed a few autographs. She posed for a few photos. It was exactly what she had done 100 times before. But then the crowd parted, and a little girl stepped forward. She couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Her hair was tied back in a ponytail. Her school uniform was slightly wrinkled, and in her hands she clutched a crumpled piece of paper, a drawing that had clearly been made with love and care. A tennis racket, a Philippine flag, a stick figure with a crown. The little girl's eyes were wide with wonder. Her hands were trembling, and she was standing directly in front of Alex Eala. The security detail tensed. They moved to intercept, but Eala raised her hand. "Wait," she said. "Let her come." The little girl walked forward slowly, as if she couldn't quite believe this was really happening. She stopped a few feet from Eala and looked up at her hero. The airport fell silent. Even the announcements seemed to pause. "Hi," the girl whispered. "Hi," Eala replied, her voice soft and warm. "What's your name?" "Maria," the girl said. "I'm 8 years old." "Nice to meet you, Maria." Eala knelt down to the girl's level, bringing herself eye to eye with the young fan. Maria held out the crumpled drawing. "I made this for you," she said. "It's you, with the flag and a crown, because you're our queen." Eala took the drawing carefully, as if it were made of glass. Her eyes scanned the stick figure, the flag, the crooked crown, and something in her expression shifted. "Thank you, Maria," she said. "This is beautiful." But Maria wasn't done. "I want to be like you when I grow up," she said. "My Lola told me about you. She said you left your family when you were 13. She said you were brave. She said you never gave up." Eala's breath caught. "I want to be brave too," Maria continued. "I want to play tennis. I want to make my Lola proud. I want to be like you." And then she said the words that would break the champion's composure. "My Lola passed away last month," Maria said softly. "But before she went to heaven, she told me to always believe in my dreams. She said you believed in yours, so I should believe in mine too." The airport was completely silent. Eala's eyes glistened. Her jaw tightened. She tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. And then the tears came, unbidden, unstoppable, streaming down the face of a young woman who had never cried on the court, who had always been the picture of composure. Maria's own eyes widened in surprise. "Why are you crying?" she asked. Eala laughed through her tears. "Because," she said, "you just reminded me why I do this." The scene at the airport was captured by dozens of phones. Within hours, the video would go viral across the Philippines. Within days, it would be shared around the world. But in that moment, there was only Eala and Maria. Eala wiped her tears and looked at the little girl with an intensity that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside her. "Maria, listen to me," she said. "I want you to promise me something." Maria nodded solemnly. "I want you to promise me that you will never give up on your dreams, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what anyone tells you. You keep believing. You keep fighting. You keep showing up." Maria's eyes were wide, absorbing every word. "Your Lola was right," Eala continued. "You can be anything you want to be. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. And I want you to know that I believe in you, just like your Lola believed in you." Maria's face broke into the biggest smile Eala had ever seen. And then, without warning, she threw her arms around the tennis star's neck. The crowd erupted. Phones captured the embrace. Security relaxed. And Alex Eala, the woman who had conquered Wimbledon, who had beaten the defending champion, who had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, held a little girl in her arms and let the tears flow. After a long moment, Eala pulled back. She took the crumpled drawing and held it to her chest. "I'm going to keep this forever," she said. "And every time I step onto a court, I'm going to think of you and your Lola, and I'm going to play for both of you." Maria beamed. Eala reached in her bag and pulled out a signed tennis ball. "Here," she said. "This is for you, to remind you that you can do anything." Maria clutched the ball like it was made of gold. "Goodbye, Maria," Eala said. "I'll see you soon." "Bye, Alex, Maria whispered. I'll be watching you on TV. As Eala walked toward the boarding gate, she clutched the crumpled drawing in her hand. She had been given many gifts over the years, trophies, awards, citations. But this simple piece of paper, created by an 8-year-old girl with love and care, meant more than all of them combined. I got better because you were an inspiration to all Filipinos, the fan had written. And now, Eala understood just how true those words were. She wasn't just playing for herself anymore. She wasn't just playing for her family, or her coaches, or her country. She was playing for Maria, and for every little girl who had ever dreamed of being like her. Before boarding, she paused. She pulled out her phone and typed a message to her team. I'm ready. Let's win this. The hard-court swing awaited. The Wimbledon DC Open, where she would reunite with Venus Williams in the doubles. The National Bank Open in Toronto. The Cincinnati Open. And finally, the U.S. Open, where her world know. 28 ranking would see her seeded. I do want to get as far as I possibly can, she had said. Of course, the ultimate goal is to win, right? But I will take it round by round. From the cracked courts of Quezon City to world number 28. From being a 13-year-old girl alone in Spain to becoming a national hero. From being told she couldn't do it to standing on the brink of Grand Slam glory. Alex Eala has defied every expectation. But the moment at the airport, the encounter with a little girl named Maria, reminded her that her legacy is about more than tennis. It's about hope. It's about inspiration. It's about showing every Filipino child that dreams are worth chasing. I don't want people to see me and say, I want to be the next Alex Eala, she had said. I want them to see and say, wow, I want to be the first me. I want to create my own path. And Maria was already creating hers. Laban lang. Always. And remember, on RallyVerse, we bring you the stories that define the sport, the drama, the emotions, the moments that change everything. Stay tuned for more.